Good morning. I'm here with Jamie Borgman, candidate for Shawnee Mission School Board. On behalf of the Johnson County Public Policy Council, thank you, Jamie, for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
The Johnson County Public Policy Council is made up of 10 chambers of commerce in Johnson County. Our goal is to provide information about public policy issues impacting area businesses. Are you ready to get started?
Let's get started.
Great. As a candidate, what are your top 3 policy issues?
Sure. So I have been knocking on doors since early June. And I would say the number one issue I've heard at the door, just connecting with thousands of families concerned moms, dads, grandmas, and grandpas, and just people that are really interested in the school district, is the use of digital technology in classrooms. And so I'm really committed to making sure that when we use technology in classrooms, that it is to enhance learning, or to provide personalized learning. I have 3 children in the Shawnee Mission School District, one at Shawnee Mission Northwest, one at Trail Ridge Middle School, and then one at Krista McAuliffe Elementary. So I'm a mom who's a true stakeholder. I have a child in elementary, middle, and high school. So when I talk about these issues, they're not only affecting our entire school district, but they're also affecting my family. And I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for all kids, not just my kids. And so really making sure that we're using digital technology appropriately is very important to me, and I also know the community at large. We have to make sure that kids have really good, strong interpersonal skills so they can not only navigate the world of technology, but also have and carry on a strong, good conversation. The second thing that's really important to me is mental health. So you may be aware that suicide rates are at an epidemic level right now. And so we really need to make sure that we are doing the right thing for kids, and that we are placing an emphasis not only on physical education and getting kids moving and active, but also their mental education, so to speak. And so we need to be able to provide kids with some really great social and emotional learning tools. And I know that the district has started that initiative this year, which I'm very happy to see. We need to make sure that kids are learning and understanding self-regulation techniques, self-coping mechanisms that don't cost the district any money, but are just sort of adding on to and enhancing some teaching techniques in the classroom. And then also, we need to be able to provide students with some more supportive resources if kids need it, if they are in sort of a trauma situation or some type of a situation where they really need some more intervention. We need to have a good partnership with Children's Mercy, Johnson County Mental Health, just some organizations and some facilities that can really provide kiddos the resources that they might need. I am a CASA volunteer, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, so I volunteer with kids who've been removed from their home due to abuse and neglect. And so it's really important to me, and a lot of kids go to school and their classmates have no idea what they've been through the night before. And so it's important to me that these kids have the support that they need, not just these kids, but all kids have the support that they need, so really kids can go to school and really learn and focus on learning. And then the third thing is really providing an equitable and inclusive culture in Shawnee Mission. And so basically what that means is really working towards embracing diversity in our district and taking on and tackling the issue of the achievement gap. White students and black students graduate at much different graduation rates, and so we need to make sure that we're setting all students up for success. And there's been some really great work being done in this area at Trail Ridge Middle School, for example. And so we need to continue to focus on this, making sure that all students are college and or career ready.
The Kansas Supreme Court recently ruled that school funding formula is both equitable and adequate. However, the court retained jurisdiction over the case to assure that funding is maintained. Briefly, what are your thoughts on the new formula and the additional dollars that have been added to the K-12 school funding formula?
Sure. So I am so happy to see that we have a governor who is education friendly. That, in my opinion, is how she got elected. She ran on as the education governor, for example. We have a legislature that just awarded school districts across the state of Kansas millions that they did not have previously, based on the Kansas Supreme Court ruling that our schools are underfunded. And so that's a great start. Unfortunately, we have had the school districts across the state, including Shawnee Mission, have had years of underfunding. And so we really need to make sure that we're continuing to get money into our classrooms that directly benefit our students. For example, special education. Shawnee Mission School District is drastically underfunded, and so we need to make sure that we are meeting the needs of all students and making sure that we are appropriately funded so we can meet the needs of all students. Also, in the Shawnee Mission School District, our English language learners, those number of students are continuing to rise. And so with ELL students, we need to make sure that we have additional resources, which really equals extra dollars to make sure that, again, we're meeting the needs of all students. So it's a great start. I'm very encouraged, but we still have some work to do in that area.
With the recent ruling by the Supreme Court that the formula and related funding are constitutional, it's likely the legislature will look closely at accountability measures for student performance. Please describe the accountability measures you support and believe are reflective of student achievement.
So I'm really happy that the Shawnee Mission School District follows the Kansas Department of Education standards, as well as some curriculum that the district has set in place. And so the Kansas NEA has really, in fact, I believe they have come up with the best policy surrounding this area, and I could not have said it better myself. And if you don't mind, I would like to read it because I think it just captures my feelings on this issue. And it says, assessment should be designed to enhance learning and not simply get data. Assessment should measure growth in student learning from one point in time to another, as well as attainment of standards. Tests should not be used as the only indicator of student growth and achievement. Finally, test taking should not overwhelm a student's classroom experience, teacher instruction, or school systems resources. So basically, I think that what that's saying is we need to look at several different set points in a student's year to determine how well that student is really achieving growth or not. And so it's important that we're looking at multiple factors in that. As I mentioned, I'm a CASA, court-appointed special advocate, kids who've been removed from their home due to abuse or neglect. So some of those kids come to school and they just can't learn based on, what's happened to them the night before. Maybe a student comes to school and they're not feeling well. And so to really only capture data that's only looking at one specific point in time, I don't think is fair to the student or to the teacher or to the school system. And so sort of taking a broader look at just different data sets, different set points throughout the year, I think is a much more fair measure. And I really do support the Shawnee Mission School District and those measures that they are using to capture a student's performance.
Kansas is experiencing all-time low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers, especially in technical and skilled trades. How do you see the Shawnee Mission School District helping to meet our business community's future workforce needs through technical education and training?
Yeah, I love this question. So my brother-in-law is a welder in Western Kansas and is not probably the best candidate for college. And when I was knocking on doors just this week, I met a gentleman who has 2 kids who's a mechanic, and he said, I was a smart kid in school, but I knew that college wasn't for me. And so it's really up to the school district to make sure that we're setting all children up for a successful life. And whether that means the kids go on to college or whether that means kids go on to a trade school, that's up for that child to decide with their families. And so I'm very proud that Shawnee Mission has a wonderful program, the Career and Technical Education, CTE, that really does help kids that maybe aren't college bound, learn some skills and some trades so they can go out and do maybe something they're really passionate about, and ultimately be a productive member of society and earn success in their minds. So, success does not equal college always, right? So we have to make sure, again, we're putting the funds into supporting all kids into being a productive member of society and achieving the success that, they are hopeful for.
And other than funding, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing the district?
So there's a couple things. Number one, we really need to make sure that we're putting students first. When and if I'm elected to the Board of Education, anytime there is a decision that is made on the board, we need to make sure two questions are answered. Number one, how does this benefit students? And number two, what do teachers think? And so I'm very, very passionate about making sure that we are putting the needs of students first and we are getting the feedback of the teachers. And so if we have those two priorities in line, then I think our district will continue to head in the right direction. We can't get caught up in the weeds. And we have to make sure that every single person who comes to the podium to present a policy or proposal, they have to know that board members expect those two questions to be answered and answered very clearly so the community can understand them. Again, how is this meeting the needs of children and what do the teachers think, because the teachers are on the front line. So really that is sort of my number one thing is, again, making sure students are put first. We put students first. And then number two is really reducing classroom sizes. And that is a priority for the next school year in Shawnee Mission, which I'm very happy to hear. Dr. Fulton announced that at a recent board meeting. And so it's making sure that the board is behind that and making sure that we are really putting the right pieces in place to make sure that our classes are smaller, not only to benefit students and their learning, but also to benefit our teachers.
And as we wrap up, tell us why you're seeking public office.
Sure, I'm seeking public office really to put students first. I'm a mom with 3 kids in the Shawnee Mission School District. I have a child at Shawnee Mission Northwest, a child at Trail Ridge Middle School, and a child at Christa McAuliffe. I'm really plugged into all areas of the district, and I want to see the district succeed, and I really am putting students first and fighting for all kids. I am a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate who helps kids who've been removed from their home due to abuse or neglect. I started the Shawnee Mission School District Circle of Kindness, which is a wonderful program and project that really empowers kids to put goodness into the world. It's a sort of a district-wide initiative that I started with a group of moms. I recently have been honored to have won Kansas State University's Mentor of the Year Award for the College of Business through my work with students. And I'm on site councils, I lead PTA committees. In fact, one of the PTA committees I lead is the Kindness Club at Christa McAuliffe. We have over 90 kids, kindergarten through 6th grade, and so I'm really hoping to inspire these kids to not only bring goodness and kindness into the school, but also into the community, and I think that's really where real change starts. And so I am very active in my community, my school district, and I'm really excited to put students first and do the right thing for kids. So.
Well, Jamie, thanks for joining us this morning, and
Yeah.
we wish you the best of luck with your election.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.